Hello, 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 hello. Ari and Tia. It is very good to see both of you here today. Hello, Ax. Hope your day has been going well. Oh, thanks, Ari. Yeah, it has been going pretty well. For some reason, it feels like a long time since I've streamed. I suppose my last stream on this channel, anyway, was the encouragement stream, at least if I remember correctly. Glad I get to catch one of the unarchived. Yeah, I'm glad you get to be here too, Ari. These are ones that you have to catch them while they last, because soon off they go into the ether of being unarchived forever. Also, Tia, I like what you said. I looked at the clock from bed and saw 8:01, and I screamed and came here. Well, I hope it wasn't too stressful an experience seeing the clock and the time that it was. Rest assured, if you had been a little bit late, it would not have been a big deal, or even if you did not manage to make it to the stream at all, it is perfectly fine in any case. But all the same, I appreciate that you are here, so thank you. Also, Thrillville, welcome. Welcome to the stream. This is a weekly kind of, or I guess near weekly, I would say, stream that I do of study sessions as part of my broader work as a philosopher VTuber. Yep, so during these streams, we all try to be productive together. And for today's stream, I'm thinking I might work on a few things, chat. One of them is that tomorrow I have a meeting with a student that I still need to prepare some notes for. So probably in the first block of that, tonight's time, the first 30-minute block, I'm going to be working mostly on that, I imagine. As for the second 30-minute block, because that's what I'm thinking tonight, 2 probably 30-minute blocks of work time. The second one I still haven't quite decided yet. I might do some reading. We'll see, or maybe work on some writing projects a little bit. But how about you, chat? I'd be curious. Be curious to know what you all are working on tonight. Alternatively, if you're just tuning in for vibes, then that's okay too. I will not hound you and track you down if tonight you are mostly here for the company. That is perfectly fine. But if there is anything that you're working on and would like to share in the chat, then let me know, because I'd be curious to hear it. Then then Ari says, really hopping from stream to stream today. Oh yeah, I can understand that experience. Because I think Karis might still be streaming. At least last time I checked, he was. That was a few minutes ago, though. And there are probably some others. Well, in fact, there are surely many others who are streaming at this time. So for anyone who is here, thank you. It does mean a lot to know that you are also tuning in to today's stream. Tia says, it's a big deal to me. Unlike the last time, there was one of these. I'm no longer sorry, I can't talk today, chat. No longer incapacitated with the flu and might get some art done. I am really glad to hear that you're feeling better, Tia. Yeah, that did not sound like a pleasant experience that you were having last time with the flu. So yeah, tonight maybe it'll be a better experience for you, and yeah, I wish you the best of luck on your art projects. That sounds like an exciting thing to work on. Ari says, I'm working on getting my stress levels down, which are kind of high right now due to current events. Also a perfectly legitimate thing to be working on. Sorry to hear about your stress, Ari, but I hope that you are able to find some peace, some calm, some peace of mind very soon. No, he ended when you started. Oh, okay. Interesting. Good to know. I hope he didn't end just because of me. Like, he's free to stream whenever, anytime. But in any case, I suppose it worked out. So chat, yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, it's probably 2 30-minute blocks. Not going to be a super long stream tonight. For these work sessions, I like to have them kind of be in short bursts. And also just because I know that for a lot of people whose day started earlier than mine did, it might be getting, a bit later in the day. I don't want to work you all too hard here with tonight's streams, or with the work and study streams more generally. So, chat, in just a second, I'll be starting up the timer. Feel free to go ahead and get out any supplies that you might need for your work. I myself will be I know this is some people's favorite part. Will be taking out my trusty keyboard and my hands here. So you can see now I am all prepared. See, I'm already working, chat. I'm already typing away. That is how good I am at this transition. So smooth, so smooth. If you have thoughts that you'd like to add during the work time, then feel free to add them in the chat, and I'll still be watching the chat, even if I won't be speaking during this next part. So as always, yeah, feel free to say anything you like there, or share any progress, any updates on your work. Ari says, it's 3 a.m. for me, so certainly a bit later. Okay, wow. Well, kudos for tuning in, Ari. That is pretty late, so I know if you have to go to bed at any point, then no worries, there's no shame in that. He says, it was 1 a.m. for him, and he was yapping for 4 hours and probably insulting his chat, so it's just as well. Okay. So it sounds like a Kara stream then. All is right in the world. That makes me happy to hear. Do you sort of really mind the acknowledgement? Yes, I do try to acknowledge these things when I can, I don't always acknowledge them, but sometimes I do. Okay, chat, here we go. First 30-minute work period. And begin. About 1.5 minutes left, chat, of our first work period. So go ahead and start winding down. And that is time. So thank you everybody for sticking with it for that first work period. Let's go ahead and set our break timer. We'll just say 6 minutes. Yep, so 6-minute break. Feel free to get up and stretch and walk around. You don't have to, but probably a good idea. I do recommend getting up to stretch for at least a little bit in between work sessions. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and respond to some of these comments that I didn't get around to. TP Ninja says, thanks for the offer, X. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm just trying to get a handle on everything for now. Yeah, I know the feeling. When you're in college, it can be overwhelming. Sometimes the stress that comes from it and the sense of just trying to organize everything. I know that was a big problem for me, especially in my first year of college. Just trying to have good work habits, and I spent pretty much all of my time working, but the problem was I was not very efficient about how I worked. And so I had a lot of trouble with it. You're probably a much more efficient student than I was, because I think I was really a sort of worst case scenario in that first year of college. But just know that I do sympathize with the difficulty of trying to get a handle on everything, as you put it. Our academic anxiety can be pretty stressful, but I managed to keep myself driven with a sense of pride and accomplishment from my successes. I think that's a wonderful attitude. And I can identify with that as well. The sense of just working hard, pretty much all the time on it, but at the same time, you get to see the things that you're learning from the feedback that you receive, and you get to sort of feel that pride, that sense of, hey, I've accomplished a lot. I am accomplishing a lot through the way that I'm applying myself to my studies. I can only hope that you find whatever drives you, Ninja. That is very well said, Ari, and it's a hope that I share for you, TP Ninja. I hope that you find something that you really enjoy, something that you feel you can really devote your passions to. Just to have some moral support, you two, from this college dropout VTuber. Well, I think that here moral support, the worth of moral support, I think, is certainly independent of whatever a person's background is or is not. And in this case, I think that the fact that we're all sort of in our studies together and devoted to pursuing whatever pursuits we are in fact pursuing, whether it's in art, in philosophy, in reading and writing, in math, perhaps, for some of us, in science. Those are the areas that I'm not very natural at myself. But I think that I know when I was in college, I always appreciated, any moral support that I could, any moral support I could get. So I imagine it's probably the same for most other people too. I know you had a rough experience, I think, when you were in college, Tia, from some things that you told me of, like, you know, other things going on in life. And so I'm sorry to hear that it was a rough time for you. But I think it's so cool that now you're the way that you're sort of going on to apply yourself in like all of your endeavors now, including endeavors that I like did not study in college and probably would have had a great deal of difficulty studying if I did, like art. I know that like the drawing classes at my college were well known for being really hard, even though like a lot of people underestimated them. A lot of people thought, oh, like drawing, that sounds easy, and then they took the class and it ended up being like something that like really challenged them in ways they didn't expect. I imagine that probably would have been my experience if I had taken the drawing classes in college. The paper at the end is the main driver, and hoping a career awaits me at the end so I don't end up in need. Well, TP Ninja, I will say, I hope you find a career someday too. They can be tough to find, you know. I think I know that, or I'm familiar with that experience, as well as just about anyone from my experience of trying to, you know, find jobs in the philosophy field and working in that field for some number of years. But still, like every year I was on the job market as a philosopher, it was a sort of rough go, you know, trying to find teaching work. It's just the nature of the business these days. And for a lot of businesses, or for a lot of fields, maybe I should say, are like that. So yeah, definitely, I know what it's like. I'm just out here trying to be a slave to society, make a living, and then die alone, having worked their entire life. Oh, oh no, I hope it doesn't end up that way for you, TP Ninja. I hope that you were able to find something that you feel is fulfilling, and perhaps if you are someone who wants to have a partner, then I hope that you will find one and not have to die alone. But know that if you do die alone, then it's something that I think happens, in many ways, happens to the best of us, and I don't think it's a reflection of your worth as a person. That means a lot. Oh yeah, of course, Tia. You're very welcome. Thank you. You're welcome as well, TP Ninja. To be fair, I'm sure I would have struggled at those classes too. Yeah, perhaps everyone would have to some extent. Like, I know there are some people who are naturals at art, but apparently it's really rare. Like, there was an art teacher that I used to know. He worked at one of the schools where I taught. And he said, like, of all the kids he's ever worked with, he was like in his 50s. I think there were only maybe like 10 or 12 or 15 kids he had worked with, like, over the course of his entire career. Like, probably thousands of kids by this point, who just, like, really, like, understood it and could do art without any difficulty, like, without even having to apply themselves. They just had that extremely natural talent. So it's something that is apparently very rare, and certainly something that I do not have. Oh, Web of Concepts, hello, welcome. Philosophy is so undervalued in our society. I agree. I wish that society were more valued, for example, by being taught more often in schools. And not just, like, you know, college here, because it is taught in college, but in, like, you know, high school, for example, or middle school, or even elementary school. I think that would be really cool if it were something that were valued and taught in that way. But chat, what do you know? The time, where has the time gone? It is already the end of our break time. Can y'all believe that? Yep, time just flies by when we're having fun discussing all of the various subjects that we discuss on break. So chat, I don't know about you, but I think I've got one more work period left in me. Yep, I think I'm up for another one. Another 30-minute work period. Oh, TP Ninja says, well, I gotta head off now. Thanks for the encouragement, Ax. ATB to everyone? Sorry, I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look this up. ATB. What does ATB mean? Oh, all the best. Of course, all the best. How did I not see that immediately? Okay. So thank you, TP Ninja, for your wonderful comment there. And yes, you're of course very welcome on the encouragement, and look forward to seeing you in the streams again sometime. Time to study more, and I have to sleep. Well, you don't have to study if you don't want to, Web of Concepts. If you just want to be here for the vibes, that is perfectly okay. The boomer moment. Oh no. Oh no, my age is being revealed. Since I have been around from the beginning of the universe in my orb form, perhaps that makes me the ultimate boomer, chat. But nevertheless, that is how these things sometimes go. I have my moments. So chat, I think in the last work period, I was able to actually make pretty good progress on the notes that I was preparing for that meeting tomorrow. I might prepare a little bit more for that, but otherwise I think I will probably just focus on some reading, perhaps. So that's what I'm going to do. For what you all are going to do, that's of course for you to decide. Feel free to go ahead now and take out any work that you have. And I myself will go ahead and take out some things that I'm working on. Oh, Web of Concepts says I'll head out too, so take care all. Okay, thanks Web of Concepts for stopping by. And yeah, take care too. Hope you have a good rest of the day, a good rest of the evening. So getting my keyboard, hands in place. All right, chat, 30 minutes. Final work session of the evening. And here we go. All right. Well, that is the end of the second and for tonight final work period. So thank you, chat. I was able to finish preparing the notes for my meeting tomorrow. So that's good. That was what I was hoping to accomplish. And yeah, I enjoyed hearing about your nighttime walk to get groceries, Ari King. I've always been a big fan of nighttime walks myself. I'm a big fan of urban vistas at nighttime, I can tell you that much. Yeah, sometimes the vibe just goes really well in certain areas at nighttime. Reminds me vibe-wise of my trip to Tokyo. That's actually really cool, Tia. I didn't know that you had gone to Tokyo. So I'll be curious to hear more about it sometime, about what it was like. Oh, the stores nearby. I walked like 25 minutes there and back, but it's good for the body and the mind, so I don't mind. Yeah, I think that's a good length for a walk, 25 minutes there and back. I don't normally take walks at night because, I don't know, I guess by the time it's night, sometimes I just don't really, I don't know if I always have the motivation, but when I do, it's usually like, hey, this is actually kind of cool, you know, taking a nighttime walk. So chat, I hope that you were able to accomplish everything that you wanted to accomplish. And if you weren't, it's okay. I hope that you at least had a good time. But I think that for my part now, I will probably go and eat a snack. I think that's what I will do next. But I'll continue working on some other things later this evening. Make sure to, yeah, remember, sorry. For some reason, I'm having trouble talking right now and tripping over my words. It's the end of stream curse. But what I was going to say is, remember chat that this coming Friday and Saturday, I'll be doing 2 streams, some gaming streams. That's right. Going back to my roots. Always been a gamer. Going back to my roots, doing some gameplay of Minds Beneath Us. Which, as far as I know, it's a game I've not played, but as far as I know, it's a game that is not too heavy on the gameplay, but it's more of a sort of story experience, kind of like a visual novel in some ways, but it's apparently pretty heavily sci-fi and philosophical. So I'm looking forward to giving it a try. Also, I actually spent like a few more minutes on the thumbnails for this one than I do for normal, and I tried to like get the thumbnails looking really cool. So I'm not gonna lie, chat, I'm like, the thumbnails I'm actually probably more excited about than the actual stream at this point. So if you do decide to take a look at those streams, I hope you like the thumbnails. I don't do that because I'm a woman, otherwise it'd be awesome. Yeah, fair enough. I think with night walks there are certain risks, and I can see how those risks would be accentuated if one is a woman. So that's a fair point. An unfortunate, you know, thing. Fortunate reality, but fair thing to be reminded of. Yeah, I have no idea what we'll be in for, but I'll be there. Okay, looking forward to seeing you there, Tia. Yeah, I don't really know too much about what we'll be in for either, but I think it'll be good to give it a try. I looked up on how long to beat, and apparently it's not really the kind of game that would work to beat in one sitting, so that's why I tentatively scheduled 2 streams. But we shall see. Probably won't be able to catch it live, but I will try to catch the VODs. Yeah, well, whatever works out, Ari, it's fine either way. But in any case, yeah, best of luck to you again with all of your studies. All right, as always, thanks chat for being here. Have a good rest of the evening, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.